Saharos, how did you find your way into the Ayurveda way of cooking and this lifestyle?
Yeah, so I came to Ayurveda for my own health reasons. I think most healers had to first learn the journey for themselves before they could really heal others. So it started when I was a kid. I ate a lot of junk food. I was overweight, had really bad allergies and asthma, and later on throughout my life tried many different types of diets to lose weight, and eventually found myself on a very restrictive diet, which caused a lot of digestive issues, hormonal imbalances. My hair started falling out. I was constantly getting injured. I couldn't sleep at night, had really bad anxiety. All of these issues were happening in my health, in my mind, and my body, but no doctor could tell me what the issue was. I went to every kind of doctor you can imagine, was just prescribed a new medication, and no one asked me, how are you sleeping? How are you eating? How are you feeling? And I longed for a system that included the mind and the body. And finally, when I found Ayurveda, I felt understood for the first time.
Okay. And about a third of your new book is an explanation of your journey and explaining the way of life, the way of eating, and why it's important for different parts of your life. Why did you think it was important to have that and not just be a standard cookbook?
Absolutely. I believe that education is power, and it's not truly helping anyone if I just say, oh, these are the new foods to eat. It's just going to turn into another one of those fad diets that you try for a week and then forget about. So I wanted to educate people that Ayurveda is not a diet whatsoever, but rather an approach to looking at food in a new way. And food, all these delicious, beautiful foods we have here, they're much more than just tastes and textures and calories, but they really create the foundation of your being. And when you eat a more wholesome diet that's customized and catered to your mind-body type, you're able to think clearly and fulfill your purpose.
Okay. And how can someone, once they figure out their mind, their body, and where they fall, how can they incorporate that into food that they eat every day?
Yes. So the mind body types have different suggestions of the foods that they need to go to and stay away from. So people who have a lot of air in their digestive system, their tendency is to have bloating, gas, constipation. So they need to stay away from lots of cooling foods, smoothies, salads, green juices, and they need more warming foods, sweet potatoes, soups, curries, stews, things that are going to ground them. Those of us who have more acidity issues, heartburn, inflammation, rashes, acne, you need more cooling foods. So more coconut water, coconut oil, leafy greens, bitter vegetables, and staying away from spicy foods. And then those of us who are more kapha, earthy, we may have a more sluggish metabolism, feel tired all the time, lethargic, mucus, phlegm, thyroid issues. What we need is more stimulation, more spices, more, again, the bitter vegetables are good for kaphas too, but the spices they do well with, whereas the fire types should not do too much. So you're able to kind of take one recipe and customize it for each dosha. And this cookbook, the beauty of it is it's all tridoshic, meaning it works for all three doshas, but there's further customizations that you can do, like taking out the garlic if you have a very pitta, fiery person in your family, or not including a salad if you have a very vata air person. So they're single ingredients that work for everyone, and then little variations you can do for the mind body types.
So the food looks beautiful, and it's very beautifully portrayed in the book. It looks like you've got breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert. You've even got a latte. Can you explain how these are different than regular meals? I guess what each one of them has that ties into your book?
Yes. So I wanted to show that eating Ayurvedically does not mean giving up on your favorite foods. Trust me, I grew up eating them too. So I took classics, for example, this pizza here. Well, the crust is actually made out of sweet potato and oats. No flour, there's no dairy. So you can eat this and it's essentially like having your regular sweet potato and oatmeal, but you're enjoying a delicious pizza. These here are the chai pancakes. So I've used regular pancake, essentially the concept of them, but the ingredients are not the same at all. I use quinoa flour, there's no egg, there's no dairy, there's no sugar, but it still tastes so delicious, wholesome, and packed with protein too, so you're not hungry 2 hours after your breakfast and craving a coffee or chocolate or something. And the chai spices are really good for your digestive system and your metabolism. Then here I have the avocado fudge brownies. So everyone loves brownies, but the reason why we don't eat them often is because they're packed with sugar, refined flour, and dairy products. So these don't have any of those, but again, all of the fudginess and all of the flavor. The avocado gives it that nourishing, healthy fat, and the coconut flour is what allows it to bind together. And I use monk fruit as the sweetener, which is a non-glycemic sweetener that is perfect if you're trying to lose weight and even safe for diabetics. And unlike other fake sugars, this is not chemically made, and it doesn't have the same bitter aftertaste as stevia. So you're getting that non-glycemic sweetener without all of the chemicals and horrible taste that sometimes makes you not even want to have the brownies anymore. And then lastly, I have the chai lattes. So most of us have gone to Starbucks, we've gotten a chai, but little did we know that that cup of chai had about 14 grams of sugar, and that's for the smallest size. So this chai latte has no sugar in it. Again, I use monk fruit. The chai spices like the cardamom and the cinnamon, they really stabilize your blood sugar levels and they keep you satiated. So this is an amazing thing to have as we transition into the fall. We're craving something that's a bit more warm. Maybe we're drinking more coffee or something as usual because we want something more warming, but instead of having all of that caffeine, this chai mix gives you the little ounce of caffeine with the black tea that it has without all of the over acidic stimulation that coffee contains, which can be highly addictive. And everyone loves the flavor of it. Trust me, if you make this at home once, you're going to keep making it forever. And the great thing is you can create a little batch of the chai and have it ready-made as your own chai concentrate and keep reusing that same one.
That's great. That sounds pretty easy. And could you use this plan for a family or for kids, or is it just strictly individual? How would you work that?
Yeah, so I actually created it really with families in mind. So the breakfasts are all catered to the mind-body types, the doshas. So breakfasts are something that even in a family, everyone kind of has their own thing going on. So it's a pretty safe place that, okay, mom's having this, you're having that, and it's all good there. So customize that for your dosha. The lunches are what I call 6 taste bowls. They're essentially like Buddha bowls, but they comprise of the 6 tastes of Ayurveda: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, and astringent. So you don't have to think about these 6 tastes on a daily basis because my book has recipes from Mexican inspired to Vietnamese to Italian, everything in between, using these 6 tastes. And they're all something that you can just bring to work with you, and you can meal prep too. So you can make a bunch of 6 taste bowls for the week, only really cook twice a week, and you have everything ready for you. I think meal prep is something really important and the key to, saving money and eating a healthier diet. And then the dinners are all tridoshic, meaning they work with all 3 mind-body types. Because food is community, and it's so beautiful to have a meal that you can share with your family and your kids, and everyone can have the same thing, A lot of us, we eat all separately as a family. We're eating different foods, and that makes us not eat at the same time anymore. Mm-hmm. And in Ayurveda, food is so much more than just what you eat, it's how you eat. So I've made it that way so everyone in the family can have dinner together.
All right, and we saw that Deepak Chopra wrote the foreword to your book and your last one. How did you end up connecting with him? Was it through your podcast or was it before that?
Oh, you won't believe it. I actually was at a conference here in New York about 2 years ago, and he happened to walk on stage, and he's someone I started reading his books when I was like 12 years old, and I've always looked up to my whole life, and I already finished writing Idiot's Guide to Ayurveda, and he walks on stage, and I just knew it was now or never. So I walked through a crowd of 1,000 people onto stage, and I introduced myself to him, and look where I am now. And I didn't have any connections to him. I was literally no one special. I just had a mission to share, and he could feel that.
That's so great. And if someone wants to learn more about your personal self or follow you on Instagram, how can they do that?
Yeah, so my Instagram and my website are both I am Sahara Rose. So IamSaharaRose.com. I have a quiz you can take to discover your unique mind-body type, and it will give you customized food suggestions for you. And again, it's so much more than food. It's also your mind, your purpose. And that's what my podcast is for, Highest Self Podcast. We discuss everything from Ayurveda. How are these doshas like in relationships? What are they like in business? What are they like in all areas of life? Helping you have a deeper understanding of who you are as a person.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking the time to explain all of this, and the food is just delicious and beautiful, so thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.